Hey everybody, FW Waller here, and I'm here just to provide a quick little review. Um, I'm going to be reviewing real quick the newest piece of downloadable content that's been released for Batman Arkham City, the Harley Quinn's Revenge downloadable quest that's been released for Arkham City. Now, this little quest has been available to download for about a couple days now. The reviews are starting to pour in. Now, I've seen some good reviews, I've seen some bad reviews. But for my own personal review, let's get that underway. Anyways, I gave my own review of Arkham City a little while ago, and I absolutely loved it. It's probably one of my favorite games on the 360. Definitely, in my opinion, the best superhero game ever made, the best comic book game ever made. It is truly a standard to which all other comic book games should be measured up to, in my opinion. So, when I actually heard that they were going to be making story-based DLC and not just more freaking challenge maps, I was excited. I was very, very excited that they were going to expand further on the story because Arkham City really took the story and went in a lot of crazy directions with it. I'm going to spoil a lot of important plot elements of Arkham City in this video. So, you've been warned. But yeah, Arkham City, boy did that game have a crazy ending and plot resolution. Actually, in my opinion, it felt like Arkham City didn't just have one ending. It felt like it had multiple endings because, okay, you had one ending where Batman goes all the way up to Wonder Tower to confront Hugo Strange, and then he stops Protocol 10, and then Strange is all like, "You haven't beaten me, Batman. I have powerful friends. The world will know that the might of Hugo Strange." And then he gets stabbed and impaled by Ra's al Ghul. Then it turns out that Ra's al Ghul was the power behind Hugo Strange. It turns out that the reason Hugo Strange disappeared for so many years was because apparently he allied himself with the League of Assassins and sold Batman's identity to Ra's, and in return Ra's provided all the League's resources and all the political power that Strange could ever want, and thus giving him the power and the wealth he needed to exert so much influence over Arkham Asylum and eventually Arkham City. It also explains how he could ally himself with the Mad Hatter and how and it turns out that Hugo Strange worked with the Mad Hatter to brainwash Quincy Sharp into creating Arkham City in the first place. And on top of that, it turns out that Strange, working with the Mad Hatter, was the one who brainwashed all those Arkham Asylum inmates into becoming rabid, crazy animals. You know, the howling, rabid, wild, animalistic enemies that you had to fight in Arkham Asylum, the one that would jump on top of Batman and try to eat him. So then, what happens is that Hugo Strange ends up dying from a Ra's stab wound. Hugo Strange initiates the self-destruct sequence in the tower. Batman attacks Ra's and they both fall from the tower, and then Ra's falls down to his death and dies. And then, after that, Joker appears, holding Talia hostage. Batman fights his way to the Monarch movie theater. And then, it turns out that there have been two Jokers, and that the second Joker, the one that appears all fine and well, is actually Clayface impersonating Joker, and that the real Joker is only moments away from death. And Clayface steals the cure from Batman, who is also moments away from death. Then Batman fights Clayface, and then Clayface falls down, and the fight with Clayface ends up with Joker detonating a whole bunch of bombs around Batman. So Batman and Clayface fall down to like the center of Gotham in like Ra's al Ghul's Lazarus pit. Batman and Clayface fight, and then Batman defeats Clayface by pushing him into the Lazarus pit or something like that. And he finally extracts the cure from Clayface's body. He takes the cure, then Joker attacks him, demanding the cure. But before that, Batman's all like, every time I send you back to prison, you break out and kill more innocent people and cause more suffering. People die. I stop you. You just get out and do it again. And then the Joker, realizing that Batman's not willing to give him the cure, he attacks him. Then Batman smashes the little vial containing the serum that'll cure Joker. Then Joker falls down on the ground and then he dies. And then, since I had Catwoman, I ended up fighting against Two-Face. So the game had a crap load of endings. It didn't just have one ending. It was crazy. The whole storyline to the game was just insane. But that's one of the reasons why I loved it so much. But anyways, God, I've dawdled so much that I've actually not gotten into the actual DLC itself. So yeah, this DLC takes place about a couple weeks after the end of Arkham City, and Harley Quinn is in mourning over the loss of the Joker, and apparently she's kidnapped a bunch of Gotham City cops from the streets of Gotham, and she's taken them into the steel mill, and Batman, who was apparently going through a bunch of emotional trauma from what's happened to the Joker, and is clearly not doing very well mentally, decides to go in and rescue the cops. When that happens, he's actually captured by Harley Quinn. And when that happens, Robin decides to go in to rescue him. Long story short, Robin finds Batman, he rescues him, they both end up fighting Harley, and Harley blows up the steel mill. We think that Batman dies first, then all of a sudden it turns out he's okay. We think Robin dies first, then it turns out he's okay. Harley gets apprehended, and that's where it ends. Yeah, that's where it ends. I bought this thing the day it came out, and I played through it, not having read any reviews, and I have to say, I was disappointed. I'm sorry. It was well done. The playing as Robin for a change was a really welcome change of gameplay, since he had such an awesome fighting style, and he was my absolute favorite character to play as in the challenge rooms. I loved playing as Robin, but God, they bring in so many elements that are just not developed as far as the story goes, because, okay, what happened with Harley? Because apparently they had this thing where Harley was pregnant, but they didn't explain that any further. They also didn't explain, what's going on with Batman. Mentally, what's happening with Batman? He seems to be going through a lot of emotional turmoil. He seems to be very depressed. He's acting all psychotic, and he's acting all violent. He's acting like the Christian Bale Batman, because whenever he grabs a thug to interrogate him, he's all like, "Give me the code, now! Thanks! Ah!" He's acting all angry, and he's yelling and shit. It's like Rocksteady's trying to poke fun at the Christian Bale Batman, since, that Batman is a fucking psychopath. But yeah, Batman's going through a lot of emotional stress, and Harley herself is apparently in mourning, but we never see them being developed at all. All that happens is that Batman gets captured, Robin goes in and rescues him. That's it. Nothing else. I wouldn't have such a big problem if this DLC didn't cost $10 fucking dollars. $10! And this DLC only lasts for like 2 hours. 2 freaking hours! Are you kidding me? Is that a joke? 2 hours? What the hell? I mean, we waited almost we waited virtually 9 months for what would ultimately turn out to be nothing more than just a simple short side quest reminiscent of any other regular side quest that's already in the game. I was expecting a lot more from this DLC, and I mean a lot. I mean, for $10 and for the ridiculous amount of time we had to wait, because Arkham City came out last October, this came out at the end of May, just a couple of days ago. So I was really expecting something big and grand and epic, but it just wasn't. I was expecting something more akin to like the Grand Theft Auto 4 expansions, the Lost and the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony. Those expansions were great because both of them were basically extensions to the main storyline, and they both lasted they had a runtime of about 10 hours, which was about how long Arkham City lasted. But they were both absolutely worth the price that they cost. They were worth the $10. So I was expecting something from this that would be just like those two expansion packs for like GTA 4 or maybe one of the Elder Scrolls games or, maybe one of the Mass Effect games. Because those are the only games I feel that have DLC that are truly worth the asking price. But this was just, I didn't hate it, but I can't say that I loved it or even liked it. I mean, if this was only like maybe $5 instead of 10, then I'd probably be okay with it. But this was this just this wasn't very good. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It was entertaining to play as. It was good playing as Robin. The stealth sections and the combat sections were just as fun as ever, but I felt like this promised way too much and it didn't live up to any of it. If this was meant to help bridge into the third Arkham game a little bit, it didn't even do that. And supposedly this is the last piece of DLC for this game, so as far as I'm concerned, Arkham City is going out on a whimper because this is a very weak downloadable quest. It doesn't develop any of the new story elements. It doesn't develop anything further. It only lasts for like at the very least an hour and a half. I mean, you could watch one of the Batman movies in the time it would take to complete this DLC quest. So, yeah. This was disappointing. It's worth downloading, but it's not worth downloading at the price it's at now. I'm sorry, it just isn't. If I would just wait. I would just wait until it drops. Or at the very least, better yet, if you haven't gotten the game yet, which if you haven't, then you're an idiot, or you just don't have a lot of money to spare, now is as good of a time as any, because now the Game of the Year edition is out, which includes every single piece of DLC imaginable for this game. This contains all the playable characters. It has Robin, Catwoman, and Nightwing as downloadable characters. It has the Harley Quinn Revenge. It has every single alternate skin for all the characters. It has all the DLC challenge rooms as well. So it's the complete version of the game. So go out and get that if you haven't even bought the game yet. I don't really need to because I've already got the regular version of the game and I have all the DLC that there is, really. So, yeah, those are my final thoughts on Arkham City Harley Quinn's Revenge. I had extremely high expectations, but this did not meet them at all. I was really disappointed with this DLC. I mean, I'll be playing through it again, but I just can't help but really feel let down by it. Just didn't really do anything. So yeah, that's my opinion. Those are my thoughts on Harley Quinn's Revenge. See you all later.